Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Identity Court Podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Emmanuel, and this is episode 4. Today, we'll be talking about a very interesting topic, which is the thin line between pride and self-appraisal. The thin line between pride and self-appraisal. So, we know pride to be a feeling of satisfaction from one's achievement or one's qualities. And we know self-appraisal to be an honest, reflective evaluation of your strengths, your weakness, and your areas for growth. Now, there is a very thin line between pride and self-appraisal, and that is what we want to talk about today. Now, pride is very subtle. You wouldn't know that the so-called self-appraiser has gradually become pride if you are not sensitive to understand the difference between these two. Before I share a story from the Bible, I want us to see the very difference we are talking about. Now, there is something called tone. Now, the tone of pride is different from the tone of self-appraiser. Pride is very self-centered in its tone, while self-appraiser is more balanced, has a more balanced tone and very objective in its tone. Now, for pride, it would be like, I did this thing by myself. I did it with my ability. I did it because I'm good. I'm good at my work. Why that sound as a self-appraiser to you? It omits the effort of others in the so-called project that you are saying that you've done by yourself. For self-appraiser, it would rather be that I did this thing well, but these are my areas of growth. I need to improve in maybe time management, or I need to do more in this area. Or these are the areas I'm looking to achieve, but I've not gotten there. That sounds more like self-appraiser. Now, I want us to look at it in this way. For pride, it has a subject and object, while self-appraiser is just about the subject. This is what I mean. Pride has a subject and an object in the sense that pride is self-centered and pride involves just the person while putting down the efforts of others. For pride, you raise up yourself and try to downgrade the effort of others, try to put others beneath you. So you could say something like, I'm doing this because I'm good at what I do. I'm doing this because this is who I am. I'm doing this because this is my reality. But for you people, you can remain here forever, for as long as I care. That sounds like pride. While self-appraiser is you talking about your own strengths, saying the things that you can do while not omitting the effort of others or trying to degrade other people or try to put down other people. Now, let's look at the story of David in the Bible, David and Goliath. Now, look at that story. It's quite familiar to us, but there are a few points I want us to note in that particular story. Now, look at David. When David went to the field and where Goliath was, threatening the people of Israel. And then he was asking questions like, what is going to happen to the person that is able to defeat this giant? And the soldiers were answering him. And then King Saul sent for him. Now look at 1 Samuel chapter 17 from verse 34. That part, he was self-appraising himself. He was giving King Saul the things that he has done, the things that he can do. He was saying things like, when I was in field, and then when the lion came for my sheep, I fought the lion. When the bear came, I fought the bear as well. These are the things I can do. When we look at that self-appraisal, it didn't involve other shepherds. Like, if you look at other shepherds, they couldn't do anything. I'm better than them. I'm better than a million of other shepherds. There was nothing. There was nothing involving other people in his self-appraisal. It was saying the things that he can do. It was talking about just his own abilities, and these are sincere evaluation, sincere truth about who he really was and the things that he can do and the things that he has done. So it was self-appraising himself. At the end of the self-appraisal, he said something. He said, I did these things because the Lord has helped me thus far. He didn't negate the power of God. He didn't negate the presence of God in what he has done. And then another part I wanted us to note is when he was up against Goliath. He told Goliath that, who are you to fight against the armies of the Lord God of Israel? That the God that he stood up against is the God that will help him to defeat Goliath. And that was self-appraisal. We can see that that's purely self-appraisal. But when we look at Goliath, he was full of himself. His self-appraisal was basically the fact that he can bring down others. He exalted himself, and he told David that he was going to feed him to the birds. So pride is subtle. It looks like self-appraisal most times to some people, but it's not. I'll give more examples that are relatable in our world today. When we look at people that are proud, they are full of themselves, meaning that they do not regard other people. They do not see the effort of any other person. If someone just gave a wonderful speech, for example, or just preached a powerful message, and people stand up to clap, if a proud person stands up, is not doing it sincerely. Deep inside them, you are thinking that, oh, I could do better than this. I could give a better speech. I could preach better than this. I'm more vast than this person. So if that is what is going on in your mind when somebody is trying to give a speech or trying to do something, it might not just be a speech. It could be anything. And right there in your mind, you are downgrading the effort of that person and thinking, oh, I can do better than this. Then pride has crept in. That's not self-appraisal anymore. That is pride. Self-appraisal focuses more on self-awareness rather than downgrading others. Self-appraisal focuses more on self-development rather than downgrading others. Self-appraisal focuses on constructive feedback rather than seeing other people work as nothing. Pride and self-appraisal are two words that we really need to look into to build a better identity for ourselves and to have a more worthy identity. Self-appraisal is good, but pride is bad. If you can think of more differences between pride and self-appraisal that probably has happened to you or has happened to somebody you know, let me hear what you have to say in the comment section. I'd really appreciate that. So one important thin line I want us to take away from this video is that pride as subject and object, while self-appraisal is just about the subject, the person involved. While pride is downgrading or putting down other people just to raise yourself, self-appraisal is about giving an honest evaluation about who you are, what you can do, and what you are aiming to be able to do. That is self-appraisal. I hope this particular episode bless you and you're able to differentiate between pride and self-appraisal. And if pride has crept in your self-appraisal, then it's time for you to reevaluate yourself and become a better person. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.